All right, ladies and gentlemen, Cutco Mike here. Happy Father's Day. As many of you are probably going to be in front of a grill, in front of a piece of meat, I want to share with you my favorite way to cook a steak. And we have a Blackstone, we have a Traeger, I've had a propane grill, but I've been to the most amazing steakhouses, but I always say there's nothing like cooking a steak in your own Cutco fry pan. So we're going to be using a Cutco 10-inch fry pan, 5-ply technology, which basically means it's a cast iron pan on steroids. It's what all the restaurants use. You talk to anybody in a restaurant, they're frying a steak or butter basting a steak or pan searing a steak on a fry pan, unless you're going to more of a charbroiled type of experience on a grill. But we're going to start here. We're going to put this pan on medium, and we want to get that pan warmed up. So you want to get all those layers of metal warmed up. There's 3 simple ingredients. You need your meat, you need your rub, and you need some butter. And I know many of you have watched me eat steak and eat it with a lot of butter. But I will tell you this, it is going to be the most delicious way to eat a steak. So if you do a lot of rubs and seasoning and you don't want to get your hands all messy, you can throw on a pair of little barbecue black gloves. So I was blessed with a couple cuts of steak here at the base. So thank you, Carl and Joyce, for blessing me with a nice little prime, not the cheap stuff. They gave me the good stuff, the prime Cutco. And you got your steak knife, your fork, your butter, and I guess you technically need one more ingredient, and that is your olive oil to give that a little bit of coat there. So it's also recommended to leave your steak out of the refrigerator for about 30 to 45 minutes to get it at room temp, but I did not do that today, so you can do it without doing that. But that's what they recommend. That's what I typically do. So you got it coated there nice. This is a New York strip. And one of my favorite rubs here is the blackened Traeger rub. So if you've never gone to Ace Hardware, this is in all of their section there with all their barbecue pits and Traegers. And you give that a nice coat. And a lot of people go, man, I never seen a steak like that, because you've never done it the right way. The right way is to get a nice crust on there. And we're going to want to do our fat cap here on the sides, so we get that flavor on the sides too. And then we're going to want to make sure we do the back. So this is not burnt. This is not black, well done. This is just going to create a nice crust there and get you that nice kind of flavor when your steak is done. So you can see it's got a nice coat there. I could probably do a little bit more on the ends. Whoops, slippery hands. So my pan is warming up, and we're warming up at a medium temperature. And we're going to then start by putting some butter down next, okay? So there's your ingredients, your butter. And I'll probably end up using about half of this stick, maybe a little bit more for the official Cutco Mike butter baptism. So my pan's been on medium heat probably for about 2 minutes now. And you're going to see this butter melt. So if you have Cutco cookware or using stainless steel cookware from maybe the past or another brand, we want to get that pan nice and hot. So, right now here in St. Louis, it's about 100 degrees outside. So what that means is it's going to be a sweat fest, right? So I can cook a steak here in about 12 minutes from start to finish. And then we're going to set our timer here at 3 minutes. And we're going to do this about a 3 minute, 3 minute, 3 minute, and then a butter baptism. So I got my pan nice and hot. So this is a Cutco fry pan here. And you can see the butter's melting fast. It's not bubbling and boiling and smoking. And if I used oil, that oil might splatter and smoke. So I like butter. And you're going to hear a nice sear. And that's going to create that nice locked in kind of flavor there. So once again, if you're just joining me, we got our Cutco steak knife, we got our Cutco turning fork, and we got some butter on deck. And that butter on deck is going to create, and by the way, people always go, hey, I want a nonstick pan. Well, the greatest nonstick pan is butter. It's what God made for us. So it's not a chemical. It's not all this additive. It's just butter. And I always joke, no one died from butter. But, it makes your food taste better. And I like the grade A unsalted butter. because the grade A unsalted butter doesn't have salt in it. And then if you're using a rub, you know, a lot of these rubs do have a good amount of salt or sodium in there. So I got my pan on a nice medium. And right now we're not flipping it. You know, a lot of mistakes people keep making is they want to keep flipping their steak, flipping steak. No, we don't want to be a steak flipper. We want to be a steak eater. So once again, if you're just joining me, we are cooking a New York strip prime here on a Cutco 10-inch fry pan. And right now, all that flavor is just kind of locking into that steak. We're doing 3 minutes on each side. And then we're going to add a little bit butter when we need it. So you can see I have enough butter still there where it's not, it's not melted up. It's not smoking. We're on a 6 here on my flat top electric stove. And at 3 minutes, we are going to flip this. So right now we got about another minute left. And if you're just joining me, we use a blackened rub from Traeger. It's what got me hooked on eating steak. There's another product called char crust that they add at steakhouses, and I think they sell it at most grocery stores. So if you're getting a side angle here, you're going to see, let me see if I can show it to you here. You're going to see the steak is just cooking up nicely, and we're just locking in that flavor. So this is not burnt. That's called a char crust or a blackened crust. We got our little butter on deck. We got our rub, and then we got our Cutco, utensils here. So if you've never tried this, I guarantee you this. You will never eat a steak better than this. And once again, that's not black. That's not burnt. That is that nice crust there at the 3 minute mark, okay? So now we're going to set our timer again. At 3 minutes again. We're going to kind of move that butter around a little bit. So you can kind of start to see we're getting a little bit of smoke. Start to see a little bit of smoke. So you're going to do one of two things. You're going to turn your dial down, or you're going to add a little bit more butter. So once again, the goal was to use about a half a stick of butter. And if you don't use a half a stick of butter, that's your choice. But that butter is kind of locking in the flavor. It's preventing the pan from burning your meat. But we're going to create what we call as a butter baptism here at the end. You can see that butter boiling, bubbling, and that steak is cooking up beautifully. And if you don't want the smoke alarm to go off, turn your vent on low there. But once again, we're using just a really nice, simple 10-inch 5-ply fry pan. We got, and I love when people knock on the fork. I mean, I use this fork daily. Comment below if you love the fork. And I always say, once you have the big steak knives, you'll never go back to the small steak knives, because the big steak knives are where it's at. And once again, we're not constantly flipping, right? So many people want to constantly flip. And I did turn my heat down to about a 5, so I turned it down one little notch there. Another little trick that I like to do here to keep that flavor on the top is add just another little slice of butter or two. And I will tell you this, if you've ever ate steak at my house, you will know how delicious it is. All right, so we got about another minute and a half left. And then we're going to do what we call the fat cap. We're going to sear the side that's got the fat on it. So we're cooking a New York strip. My preferred steak of choice is a filet, then a ribeye, then a New York strip. But, beggars can't be choosers. So once again, you can see it's cooking up nice. You're starting to see a little bit more smoke. So if you're seeing a lot of smoke, that means you got your burner on too high. So turn your burner down. And it's going to be delicious. I know you're sitting there, your mouth's watering. It's Father's Day. You're like, man, I'm going to go make myself a steak. And you're going to see, once again, see that? We got that nice kind of blackened crust. It's not burnt. So now we're going to find that fat cap, and we're going to hold it there on the side, and we're going to kind of use our fork there. So that's kind of locking in that fat cap on the side of the New York strip there. And if you cook 2 steaks or 3 steaks, you can usually line them up and kind of they'll hold up on each other. But yeah, guys, it's going to be delicious. Hopefully you're having a great Father's Day. Hopefully you're using and utilizing your Cutco cookware. If you have the non-stick cookware, I will say it won't be as good for searing and getting that butter baptism that we want to do with the stainless steel pans here. So we're going to do this for about another minute. And once again, that's just kind of locking in that fat. You don't want to bite into a really fatty piece. You want to have that fat kind of caramelize and be more of like a almost you know, just a nice piece of charred gristle. And then we're going to kind of flip it back over so you can kind of see there. Now that fat cap is now not just fat. It's got some nice, you know, caramelization. And then we're going to come back over. And I don't like my steak, you know, super bloody. So I'm going to go back again for another 2 minutes. So we did a 3 minutes, flip, 3 minutes. And then we did about a minute and a half on the sides. And then here's where it gets really fun, okay? You're going to add a little bit more butter. And we're going to go into a little bit more of that second half there. And then this is where we call it a butter baptism, okay? So preferably you get your Cutco flatware and you're going to just tilt the pan a little bit to the side. And then this is what you see Gordon Ramsay and all the chefs doing. When you're spending $80 for this at the steakhouses, you can just go to your local grocery store or commissary and just do it yourself. I mean, this is all under 20 bucks. And, you know, see that bubbling butter there? See that? That's the butter baptism. There's a little piece of butter there. Butter. And, yeah, I mean, it's going to be delicious. It's easy to use, easy to clean. I mean, this is the way to eat your steak, guys. So see that nice butter? It's not smoking because I turned my heat down a little bit now, but it's just soaking into that steak there. See that? Who wants some of this there? Come on now. Who wants some of this? So now what we're going to do again, we're going to flip it one more time just to make sure it's cooked all the way through. The goal on my temperature is a medium. And for you guys that think I use a full stick of butter, look at that. I still got about another 1/3 of that butter left. So I could add that full stick if I wanted to, but I want to make sure I can shut up some of the critics. But there you have it, guys. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn off my heat and just let this steak have its last few minutes of life here, just soaking in a butter bath. And then, you know, for the sake of the video, I'm going to leave it here, but I would take it off the burner and just kind of let it rest for about 5 minutes. And then you should have a medium cooked steak. And obviously a little bit of practice. I guess there's a little piece of the butter. Forgot a little bit of the butter. Whatever they call that. There you go. All right, everybody. Happy Father's Day. If you're just joining me, who wants a piece of the steak? And then to cook, actually, I'll just show you this here just for the sake of how awesome this pan is to clean. So I got my burner off. I would still leave it in the pan, but just to show you guys how easy this is to clean. So I'm going to pour that butter over that steak there and just give it its last little bit of life on earth there. All right, so see my pan looks like death, right? So many people go, oh, I bought stainless steel before and it sucks. Well, yeah, because you bought stainless steel. This is Cutco 5-ply Premier cookware. It's not stainless steel. It's stainless steel exterior, stainless steel interior, and then it's got a middle layer of aluminum, a 3-ply core. All right, so what you're going to do while your pan is still hot, the burner's off, is we're just going to cook clean it. And you could do it 2 ways. If you're in a rush, you take a metal spatula, okay? You got a Cutco metal spatula, and you just kind of take that metal, because you can use metal on metal here. So if you're just joining me, we just cooked a prime New York strip. We gave it a butter baptism. And you could also use like a little Norwex pot scrubber. You can also use an SOS pad. But right now, the pan is still hot. We got the temperature off. But you can use these pans for 50 years and they'll still look the same way. So normally I would dump this in the dog food for the doggies, but so that was just one time around there with my metal spatula. So see how easy that is to clean? Once again, one of my favorite things about Cutco is how easy it is to clean. And then you could pour some soap in there. This is working. Nope, that one's not working. And then I love this. This is another Norwex product here. It's a little kitchen cleaning brush, and obviously I would normally do this over my sink, but just to show you guys, look at that. From a blackened, nice char crust steak to a brand new clean pan, all under 15 minutes. No, I'm not knocking the grillers out there. I'm not knocking the Blackstoners out there, because I'm one of them myself. But I'll tell you what, I'm not going outside in 100 degrees and cooking a steak when I can have a steak like this in 15 minutes. Delicious. All right, everybody. I will be in touch. If you're ever considering Cutco cookware, reach out and let me know. I'd love to help. So we got our steak knife. We got our little Cutco basting spoon. We got our fork. And then we had our little turn and serve to clean it up. Comment below if you've ever done this. And happy Father's Day, everybody. God bless. Take care. Should we cut it? Should we cut into it? So normally I let it rest another minute or two, but for the sake of the group here, let's see. I'm going to say it's going to be a little bit more pink than I like, but so I'd say that's a little bit more on the rare side. So I think I was speeding it up a little bit for the sake of the film, but you know, most people like their steak like that. I like mine a little bit more done. And keep in mind, I also did not let my steak sit out at room temp for you know, about 45 minutes before I took it out of the fridge. So that's probably why the center's just a little bit more pink. Anybody want to eat that? And once again, we got some deals on my group if you guys are wanting some knives. So I would say that's going to be more of a medium rare. But as we go towards the sides, I bet you it'll probably turn a little bit more to a medium. So what's your preferred temp, guys? Are you guys more medium, medium rare, medium well? And then here's what's cool about some of that butter baptism there. That'll still cook up and soak up some of that rareness there. All right, everybody. God bless. Comment if you're hungry. Take care.